Langston Hughes was an African American writer whose most notable work occurred in the 1920s and 30s. He was part of a literary movement in the 20s called the Harlem Renaissance, a flowering of high-quality American literature that came out of Harlem. Theme for English B seems on the surface to be an autobiographical poem, but it's not, at least in its surface details, which reinforces the point that we should not confuse the author of the poem with the speaker in the poem. For example, the speaker in the poem is from North Carolina. He was born in Winston-Salem and lived for a while in Durham. But Langston Hughes was born in Joplin, Missouri, and grew up mostly in south-central Illinois, not too far from where I grew up. So the point simply is, don't confuse the poem's author with the speaker. However, the speaker in this poem is 22, and by the time Langston Hughes was 22, he was indeed in Harlem. So, the speaker is probably a college freshman. He's been given an assignment by his English teacher. Go home, write a page about yourself that is true. And you know we English teachers say stuff like that all the time. Be yourself. Write about what you know about. Express yourself honestly. But as this student thinks about that assignment, he realizes it's not that easy. Who is he really? Since traditional grammar breaks down near the end of the second stanza, let's look at that a little. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22, my age, but I guess I'm what I feel and see and hear. Harlem, I hear you. Hear you, hear me. We two. You, me, talk on this page. I hear New York too. Me. Who? In trying to decide what's true about himself, he assumes that he must be a composite of everything he feels, sees, and hears. And much of what he hears is Harlem, the city that surrounds him. Now, the reference to New York in the last line suggests that he not only hears, feels, sees, and interacts with Harlem, which is a section of New York, but he hears and feels and is part of the larger city also. Okay, but the last word of the stanza, who, suggests that he really is thinking about all of those feelings and experiences that make him who he is. And then it occurs to him that even though he is colored and his teacher is white and he is the only colored student in the class, that he has a lot in common with the others. Well, I like to eat, sleep, drink, and be in love. I like to work, read, learn, and understand life. I like a pipe for a Christmas present, or records, Bessie, Bop, Bach. I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same things other folks like who are other races. Once again, we have some music allusions here. Remember what the word allusion means, a reference to a person, a historical event or document. Bessie refers to a 1920s blues singer, Bessie Smith. Bop refers to bebop, a progressive form of jazz that was rising in popularity in the 50s. Bach refers to Johann Sebastian Bach, a form of classical music. So he likes a wide variety of music, just like most young people. So he wonders, since he has all these things in common with his teacher and classmates, will my page be colored that I write? And the following stanza tries to answer that question. Being me It will not be white, but it will be a part of you, instructor. You're white, yet a part of me as I am a part of you. That's American. So the page that he writes will not be white, but it won't exactly be colored either in the sense that the word colored was used in those days. It will be a blend, because he is in the classroom and being taught by a white teacher. That teacher becomes part of him. On the other hand, because he is in that classroom interacting with the teacher, he becomes part of the teacher also. One of the great things about being a teacher in a traditional classroom, as opposed to a teacher making podcasts, as I'm doing now, is that you interact constantly with all kinds of people, and they become part of who you are. They all, in large ways and small, adjust how you look at the world, your Weltanschauung. When I'm teaching composition and when we talk about writing about people, I always tell my students, remember, internally speaking, none of us are black or white. All of us are various shades of gray. And Langston Hughes is playing with that idea here. The only words in the poem that don't strike me as quite precisely accurate are, "That's American." I would say, "That's human." What he's talking about doesn't just happen in America. It happens in all human communities. However, it has always happened on a grand scale in America because we've always been a melting pot. And even though from my point of view that's a good thing, it certainly is not an easy thing. Sometimes perhaps you don't want to be part of me, nor do I often want to be part of you, but we are. That's true. And I think we've all felt that, and not just in the context of race. How many times have teenagers and young adults thought, "I don't want to grow up to be like my mother or my father," and yet no matter how hard we try, in some ways we carry their influences in us. How many times have we entered a classroom and encountered ideas that we don't like and thought, "I reject that. I'm not going to be influenced by that." And yet by rejecting the ideas and thinking about why we reject them, we're changed by them. Often parents feel great anxiety when their children go off to college. They want their children to be well educated, but they don't want them to develop weird ideas, by which they mean ideas different from theirs. But that's the nature of life. We often don't want to be a part of the people, ideas, and sentiments that we encounter, but inevitably we are. As I learned from you, I guess you learned from me. Although you're older and white and somewhat more free, this is my page for English B. And certainly that's true. We all learn from one another. And in closing, I do like that word "somewhat" in the second to the last line. None of us are completely free. We are all limited in various ways by, among other things, our experiences.